think the environment has been changed.
What we're saying is have a heart.
We've got to be able to regenerate our
There'll be
economy.
people who are kind, people who are cruel, but that's life. You can be passionate about videos. I'm fine with that.
What's wrong with Singaporeans?
I'm the oldest in this group. I've lived longer than you. And I'm suggesting that if we have a common thread of kindness among the country, a common thread of kindness, whether you're rich or you're poor or you're black or you're white or you're purple or you're gay or whatever, that's your own business. You can do what you want in that circle.
Yes.
But when you're all there together, it is just to be kind to each other. For example, I don't think it's anybody's business to worry about the lesbian, gay, the LGBT thing. To me, it's not a problem. It's a private matter, isn't it? I can choose to be gay. I can choose to be whatever. As long as whatever I do is not imposing on you, right? That none of your business will tell me that your religion doesn't like it. My religion accepts it. So what? So my point is, this I told Tan Cheng Bock 30 years ago, feedback session. I said, Tan Cheng Bock, first of all, whether my child speaks Chinese, Malay, Indian or what is my business. Whether she's gay, she's married, she has children or not, that's my business. Whether she believes in God or not, that's my business.
Your child's business.
Whatever lah, but a child at that age is my business, okay? And how they grow, okay? Then, the government has to look after the middle class. If you're rich, no need to look after us. The rich will always look after the very poor. So the government must look after the middle class. Simple. Jobs for them, education for them, housing for them, that kind of thing, right? But I think what has happened is, and the other thing I said to him was, and by the way, in 20 years' time, I hope everybody in this room speaks English, right? Instead of having to translate so many times. One thing I can't stand about the National Day speech is in so many different languages. Why do you have to speak in tongues or what? Right? So to me, have a immediate translation. Right? Speak English. Everybody listens to the same message. Don't carry a different message for different races.
So do you have room for differences?
Yes, of course you have. But that is my business. If I'm gay, you shouldn't tell me that your religion say I shouldn't be gay. And the politicians, most importantly, should not be involved. That is not their business. Religion is not their business. Race is not their business. Their business is to create jobs, to create, transport and things like that. That's it.
So in this creating space for interaction,
right,
what Fadiah is saying, we should be able to discuss openly. But eventually we must become one of differences, not a unity entity. Yeah?
That is a PAP's way of thinking.
Okay, but don't you think we should be an inclusive society where we function as one? Look at the Americans. There's a huge diversity, but an American is an American. He's proud to be an American. If you're disintegrative, let's say, are you saying that we are all individuals?
America's exactly the example of what I'm saying. And actually, I don't think that they're all proud to. I mean, I don't think that there's no fault lines there, right? But if, for example, I lived for many years in New York, and it's precisely because it's such a plurality. You can't really sort of assume that someone who's Jewish is also going to be, by ethnicity, is also going to have. I mean, you really can't assume that much, and so
you can recognize an American, and the American has got a strong sense of patriotism. I'm speaking of the majority. You cannot cite the exceptions. You see.
No,
so
I'm not at all arguing for disintegration in the sense of pulling apart. What I am saying is that the more subgroups we have, right? I mean, the more groups we belong to, the more ways in which each of us is simultaneously a majority one day and a minority in another day, because our interests are no longer in that sense homogeneous.
Do you think that we should be an inclusive society?
Absolutely.
Do you think that we should work towards having a Singapore identity?
Yes.
We have a Singapore identity.
We have a Singapore identity. This is the point.
How inclusive is that?
We have a Singapore identity, but if your leadership keep talking about Malays and Chinese, that's the problem. Right, and they're minding everybody's business, like the politician who go and talk about this LGBT, the HPBs. It's just a resource, right? And it's
the Singapore identity is multiracialism, multiculturalism.
But listen,
there is a Singapore identity.
So what race am I? I'm Singaporean. So if everybody
No,
can
no,
say,
if you
this
hang
is
out with
exactly
that
the point.
question, what race am I?
Yeah.
I don't care. You see, I don't
know
care.
you-
I just talk
this
to
is
You
you.
may
what
be the
I'm
exception.
saying.
There are many people
This
who
is
care.
what I'm saying.
So
that
if you tell me you're Indian, Chinese, I say,
the
okay, so Malays are
the
you.
government should not care if the entire block is lived by
But
Malays. So
I
be
may want
it.
to know, but it doesn't affect any of my responses to you. I may want to know out of curiosity. For example, like just earlier I asked Kelvin, right? But I may just want to know, but it doesn't affect how I deal with you. You may decline and say, hey, look, I'm a member of LGBT, I'm gay. I say, okay, I have gay friends. Okay, I may not agree, but it doesn't affect how I interact with them. See, that's how I become one at one. I'm not the same as you, but I'm together.
Yeah, but the controls of the state are keeping people more apart. You see, if I want to sell my house to a Malay, I should be able to sell my house to a Malay. Why should I see whether the ratio is there?
You're talking
Why?
of HDB, you're not
Yes,
talking of your house.
and that is why they are, keeping the dividing to rule the people. That's my biggest bitch about this country. I love my country, right? They mentioned my father, a poor Indian, came to Singapore, and he, by the time I'm born, he's so rich and etc. Not educated. What a beautiful country it is. When I was young, all of us were happy, right? All of us played together, and suddenly now we have all this. Why? But there was a binding thing. We were all kind to each other. We were all kind to our neighbors. We all took care of somebody who needed more care. So value system.
So values, becoming one people, taking care of one another, more compassionate. But how can you be one people?
It don't be one people. It's not about becoming one people.
No, one people doesn't mean they're the same. But
it's having the same values. So,
okay, what is values?
First of all, honesty, right, and fairness,
compassion,
and kindness, and
tolerance.
So if a fella falls down,
freedom,
if the fella falls,
freedom is loaded.
If the fella falls down, I look. Even if it's a foreign worker, I try to save the fella. Instead of just walking past because it's not one of mine. So that is why I'm saying, if all of us Singaporeans get that same upbringing that we all had, rich or poor or whatever, we all cared for each other. I think people don't care for each other now.
For us to do that, we need to mix. We need to have dialogue. We need to communicate. We need to play, to work together. Then we can develop that nice relationship, right? Of the common
we have to
space,
play together, but must be 70%, 15%, and this thing. What I'm saying is, if all the Malays want to play together, let them play together.
It happens now. It happens now. They do play together sometimes, but they like to play with others also can.
But my point is, the environment segregates people.
Let's try to look at those things that unite us.
Rules segregate people.
I want to pick up your point just now. It's not the environment, it's the policy, the divide and rule.
Yeah, but the policy sets the environment, you see.
That actually sets the environment that causes
the policy's got to be changed.
I think we're a work in progress, and I think that as we learn, the policies are changing.
Changing.
Yes.
Remove it.
Yeah, it is.
Remove
It
all
is.
these,
It is being removed. It
policies.
is.
It's like
It
the
is.
school
This is what
education
I'm saying.
The
system is
sacred cows
changing.
are being slaughtered.
What I'm saying
but
is,
as long as it's still there, it is still issues.
No, what I'm saying is, young people like that. I have met many young girls, Malays, Chinese, Indian girls, and the women especially, highly educated, highly, vocal and good, good ideas and all that. There is hope. Don't be discouraged. Even when
there
I'm
must be
dead,
participation by the young people into the political process. Then change will come.
Okay, I think it's time to bring this very interesting discussion to a close. If I can just very quickly sum up, I think we're all speaking in agreement to one another, and that first of all, we have to work towards an inclusive society. Whether or not you call it one nation does not mean people of the same mind, people of the same color, people of the same distinctiveness. It means many different colors, many different distinctiveness, but they all share a sense of common purpose. They must be open and honest, and if we have young people like Fadiah, I think the future for Singapore is very good. They must also have a heart, compassion and kindness. And of course, with the pressures of society, we must create the environment and the time for them to interact. Hopefully in the future, although you say we have a Singaporean identity, I still feel that it's a work in progress, And the Singapore identity of the future should be something that we can distinguish ourselves with without emphasis on the differences, that we can be colorblind, so to speak, not that the colors have vanished, but we are no longer conscious of the differences between us.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being part of Talk About.